Hello, I'm Rupert Turton, and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview where we talk to local business owners about their journey. Today, I'm joined by Gaz Archer, who is the director at OPTO 24/7, who provide a range of services, including electrical, heating, and plumbing, as well as emergency repairs. So, Gaz, welcome.
Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah. First question, of course, actually, I've probably just explained it really badly, but just give us a bit more detail about what you and OPTO 24/7 do.
Yeah, so we predominantly operate in the home emergency sector of the trade. So we do, like you said, heating, plumbing, and electrics, mostly for insurance companies. If say there's water coming through the ceiling, it's an emergency, we go out, we send a plumber out to it and resolve that issue. Same with the heating side, boilers break down, no electrics. So it's all very much the home emergency side that we deal with.
And how did you get into it?
In all honesty, it was another company that brought it to our attention. So I
Hmm.
was self-employed when I lived up in North Wales and worked for a few of these companies. At the time, I didn't know what it could mean for a business. They were gap fillers, nothing more. I had my own private work, and I just used these other companies to fill spots that I had free. Um, I left a company called ATAG, where I was a technical product manager for a couple of years, and went for a work for a company who did this type of insurance work. I worked for them. It was a great company. Worked for them for a couple of years, and I saw what potentially it could be. I thought, well, they've made a successful business out of doing this. There's no reason why I can't do it.
Yeah.
So myself and John Archer, my brother, set up this business. He left the company that we were working for and did it on his own. And a few months later, I joined in and started doing the similar sort of work.
So it's actually a sort of business that evolved, and then you made a conscious decision to make that your main line of work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was never set out to be what it is now. It
Yeah.
was more we were aiming for private customers,
Yeah.
but because we knew about these companies, we joined their networks. We started doing work for them. It just naturally fell that we were prioritizing these insurance type companies over private people, and we were just doing more and more work, being asked to cover more areas, and it just sort of snowballed from there.
What are the biggest challenges running I suppose it's a domestic services type business at the moment?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest challenges are um, staff. I'd say is number one. Um, Heating engineers, plumbers, electricians. They're tradespeople. A lot of self-employed, and the type of work that we do, it's 24 hours. It's people have a leak at 9, 10 o'clock at night. They expect someone to come out and resolve that issue. So finding tradespeople who want to work Saturdays, Sundays, on the evenings can be quite difficult.
Yeah.
So getting staff, and the same on the office side. Obviously, we need office support to look after the engineers. So again, having office staff who are happy to sort of work late on in the evenings and Saturdays and Sundays is quite hard sometimes.
Yeah. So what's your biggest learning then since you've been a business owner?
It's difficult to pinpoint one thing. Myself and John, we're both from trades ourselves, so everything has been a learning curve for us. From interviewing staff, with not something that we ever had to do beforehand,
Yeah.
to sort of deal with accountants, attending client meetings. Everything has been very, very new. Um, so it's more the business aspect, I'd say, has been the biggest learning curve, the background stuff, not just going out and doing the job, but
Mm,
what it entails on the back end to keep the business running and keep it growing.
yeah. So have you gone out and sought some education around running the business, or is that just stuff you've picked up almost by trial and error?
A lot of trial and error, but wherever we can, we register to sort of different coaching websites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Speak to other people who do the same work that us and pick their brains for information. So basically, anywhere and everywhere we can get some information, we try and absorb as much as we can and learn from it. Give it a go. If it works, brilliant. If it doesn't, then we try something else.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. So what have you learnt about yourself since you've started OPTO 24/7?
About myself, I'd say I'm more resilient than I expected to be. It's been, like I say, it's been a hard slog for us. Me and John, when we first started, it was during COVID, and we were out every single day. And I think our first day off was about 18 months. We worked 7 days a week for about 18 months solid.
Yeah.
And you are looking at 12 to 18-hour days we were doing. So that was a really difficult time, and we got through it together. Just so I'd say sort of self-belief is probably what I brought. I've learned more for myself that we got through all of that.
Yeah.
We made it a success. We brought some people on. We're still growing. Yes, we can do this. We can make this work.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are the biggest opportunities in your industry then in the next 5 years?
I think the insurance industry is something that has been up to now quite untapped as a business itself. Like I said, I used to be self-employed once. I worked for these same companies, but it was very much a case of filling gaps in days. That's all I ever used them for, because they don't
Yeah.
pay the same rates as what you would on a private job. So as a self-employed person, you're like, no, I'm not going to take that job on because I can get paid more from this private customer. So I think it's now turning into an industry where companies are going, do you know what, we can make this viable
Yeah.
by doing volume rather than sort of smaller quantities at a higher profit margin. We can just do a lot of jobs at a smaller profit margin and
Yeah.
still make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
And again, like I said earlier, being a tradesman, there's lots of branches we can go to. It's not just the insurance side, boiler installations, private customers, letting agencies. There's lots of places we can take this.
So we're already thinking about how to diversify the business to deal with the changes in the industry.
Yeah, exactly. I know some companies that we were trying to join their networks a couple of years ago, and one quite large company went under
Oh.
because they very much focused on boiler installations and didn't look elsewhere from that. Well, of course, COVID hit. The supply dried up. People couldn't make the boilers quick enough due to COVID. So that company went under because it couldn't get the boilers to fit on the wall in the first place. Whilst
Yeah.
if they had diversified more,
Yeah.
they might still be going today because they would have had something else to fall back on. So
Yeah.
learning from them, thinking, yes, they made a very, very successful company, but it doesn't, a few things happen that are beyond your control and that company can disappear. So spread out a little bit. If one
Yeah.
side of the business goes, you just sort of, at least you've got something else to fall back on.
Yeah. So I suppose it's building resilience into your business model going forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we're still looking at doing installations. It's something that we've been trying to do for quite some time.
Yeah.
So again, that's something else that we want to get into. At the moment, us diversifying is trying to get lots of different clients on board.
Yeah.
Where if one client, for instance, loses a contract, at least we've got other clients we can fall back on and carry on going.
Yeah, absolutely. So with all that in mind, what are your aspirations for the company in the next 5 years then?
I'd like it to at least double in size. In 5 years' time, I'd definitely like to think that we're expanded more than what we are now. We cover quite a big area as it is. We go from sort of some of North Wales up to the Lake District, Birmingham area, Derby, Stoke. We go up towards Wakefield. We cover Doncaster, some of Lincoln, Leicester. It's quite a big area. So
Yeah.
in another 5 years' time, bear in mind we've only been sort of trading for about almost 4 years. So another 5 years, I'd like to think that we're covering a bigger area, doing again more volume for the customers that we already do work for, more customers, and a few more trades, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. There's quite a lot to look forward to then.
I hope so. A lot of work to get it where we want it to be, but yeah, it's definitely getting there.
Yeah. So you and your brother obviously made that transition from being employed to running your own business. What would you say to anyone who's thinking of going into business for themselves?
I would say be as prepared as possible. It's a lot of work. You never ever switch off. It doesn't matter if you're on holiday, whether it's sort of 10 o'clock at night, especially in the industry that we're in, because emergencies never stop happening. There's
Yeah.
7 days a week, but you never ever switch off from the company. It doesn't matter if you're on holiday or not. Those emails keep coming through, those phone calls keep coming through. And as a business owner, where we are sort of responsible for people's livelihoods, our responsibility is to make sure that our staff have got jobs next month, the month after that, and so forth. So I would say be very prepared in that side, be as prepared as you possibly can. Try and have a backup fund where at least you can, if things start slowing down in the business side of things, at least you can carry on operating and give it time to pick back up later on.
Yeah. Okay. So, complete change of tack then. Who is the first person that comes to mind when you think about success?
It'll be difficult to say one person really. I quite like reading the stories about people who have started from nothing really and built something out of nowhere, especially if they've done it a little bit later on in life. I'm 35 now, and I don't want to still be working in my 70s and 80s. So for me, I want to grow this company and have a bit of an easier life later on.
Yeah.
So I like reading stories about that sort of stuff. There was the film Founder, I believe it is, about McDonald's.
Yeah.
I watched that and thought this is quite interesting. He tried and tried and tried and tried to make something of himself, and then through pure luck and grasping every opportunity he could, he ended up making this huge thing.
Yeah.
I like stories like that. So singling one person out is very difficult. I probably couldn't do it, but that sort of scenario where people have worked really hard from nothing and create something is what inspires me.
Yeah. So where's the inspiration? What forms the inspiration behind those people though?
A better way for me on a personal level. It's a better way of life. I've got 3 children. I want to give them as best life as I possibly can. So a lot of it is, it's a financial motivation.
Yes.
I want to help them buy their first cars and buy their first houses, and I can only do that if I'm successful in what I do.
Yeah. Cool. Excellent. So, Gaz, thank you for your time today. It's been
no worries.
Great hearing about your journey and where you are in business. So, Gaz Archer from OPTO 24/7. Thanks for your time today. It's been great.
Thank you.